Streaming all across the country, from Washington State to South Beach and the Northeast to the deserts of Arizona, to dive into all things football. You're listening to the B&E Podcast. Here's your hosts, Ed Donaldson and Brandon Simpson.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us for another episode of the B&E Podcast, Week 10. 2 overtime games, aka free football. We had some tears after one of the games. We had a new interim head coach on the sidelines. Historic win for Mike Tomlin. More on all of that later. What's up, Ed? How was your Sunday?
What's going on, man? It was all right. Not too bad. My team plays today, though, so we'll see how that goes. I'm not really looking forward to it, honestly, but we'll see what happens. How you doing, man?
I'm good. You saying you might not have a good Monday night and a good Tuesday morning? Is that what you're saying?
We'll see. I don't know. Games like this, honestly, is the games that they like surprise people and win. But Monday night against the Eagles, I think if history serves me right, they usually whoop us. So okay. We'll see what happens. I think that one play that they love showing on the Eagles Commanders history is Mike Vick throwing a bomb to D-Jack, Deshaun Jackson. I think that was a Monday night game. But yeah, I always remember that. I ain't never gonna forget it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight.
Got you. Before we get to some of the headlines making news around the National Football League today, we had a little bit of tragic news out of Charlottesville, Virginia. If you haven't heard, students shot 5 young adults at the University of Virginia late Sunday night. They were on a bus that was returning from a field trip there in Charlottesville. Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Perry, they all died of their injuries, while another person is in critical condition and one more is hospitalized as well in what they're calling good condition. The authorities say they're out of Virginia. Each of the young men, they were members of the UVA football team as well. The suspect was arrested Monday morning. He faces 3 counts of second-degree murder. Definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to the families and the UVA community there in Central Virginia, for sure.
Definitely. Let's get this opening drive going. Dolphins DN Emmanuel Ogbah, he suffered a season-ending torn triceps injury. Baker Mayfield will be back in action for Week 11 as PJ Walker is out with a high ankle sprain. And Cardinals tight end Zach Ertz sustained a season-ending knee injury in the last game as well. All right, so Guten Tag. The Bucs beat the Seahawks in Germany 21-16. At first, we were texting about this game, and I was like, it looks like the Seahawks punter might be my special team player of the week. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
The first half, Seahawks didn't put up any points, and the Bucs scored 14 points. I thought this was looking like a blowout, but Seahawks kind of fought back. Bucs made some weird decisions. Did you see the play where they had like a running back pass?
Yeah.
To Tom Brady, but he slipped on the ground. Typical.
He tripped him
I
up
will
too.
admit that the field did look kind of slippery. They were showing the field and how people had to change their cleats out and stuff. So I'll give them a little break there, but I ain't never gonna forget the Philly special they tried to run.
Yep.
And he tripped over himself there too, where the ball was like just a little bit out of his reach. Made me think about that. Leonard Fournette, he went out early in this game with a hip injury, and that led the way for Rachaad White, who picked it up and had 105 yards rushing. He got the job done as well. Brandon, what did you think of this game going into it? I think we both picked the Bucs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so. It seemed like every time I looked at the TV, Seattle was in third down. Looking at the stat line after the game, I remember texting you that they were 1 for 9 on third down. Clearly, they can't win that way. It's not common for a Pete Carroll team either. I called on Seattle to run Kenneth Walker the third on Friday's show, and it didn't exactly go to plan. I mean, they gave him the carries, it just was no production there. That's credit to the stout defense there with Tampa Bay. And that was part of their defeat as well. But meanwhile, Tampa Bay, who I remember you said you was going to be interested to see who was going to run the ball. And I said, Tampa Bay ain't going to run the ball, and they can't run the ball. And then sure enough, they shut me up because, like you said, White came in for Leonard Fournette. And Leonard, I mean, he did his thing too. He was on his way, looking like he was going to, do some things. He finished 14 carries, 57 yards. So they came out and had a run game. You mentioned that play to Tom Brady. He got the penalty after that for tripping as well. So don't be surprised if that comes back out of the Byron Leftwich playbook later in the year as well. Shout out though to Julio Jones. He probably had his best game of the season so far, his first year with Tampa Bay. Wide the hell open on that touchdown that he scored. He almost walked in untouched. I think they hit him right at the goal line in that far right corner, and he scored there. So kudos to him. But Brady, my man's 2-0 since the divorce. I mean, look out, NFC, look out the National Football League. I mean, this guy's motivated. I think I remember texting you this too. He was, if I'm not mistaken, him and Giselle got married in 2004. So that would have been basically 3 Super Bowls that he won before, basically he was single, even though, they probably was dating for a while. Don't quote me on it, but I believe I saw something around the time when the divorce rumors came up. So yeah, I don't know, Tampa Bay. I mean, that was a good window up, overseas and everything. Those games are typically sloppy and everything. So they came out, looks like they executed the game plan, which seemed like it was running the ball. Like I said, Julio Jones got involved, Chris Godwin got involved, all the guys got involved there. And defense did their thing, sacked Geno Smith 3 times. Geno still had a decent game, but again, they shut down that Seattle run game. So shout out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're now 5-5 on the season.
Yeah, and Tom Brady threw a pick in that game. He was like 3 pass attempts away from breaking Aaron Rodgers' record of like most attempts without an interception. I think he was at like 398 or 399, and the record was like 401, I think, or 402, something like that. So I wonder going forward if that's gonna like tick him off even more, knowing that he threw a pick and wants to play any better. They 2-0, like you just mentioned, or on a 2-game winning streak at least. Do you think they like turn a page and they'll start winning some games going on a roll here? Or you think it's just their opponents?
Yeah, I think they'll start to win some games. You can't. And looking at his career, obviously, it wasn't too many times that Brady ended up either in a losing record or didn't make the playoffs at all. Obviously, we all know that. So the chances of them at least making the playoffs are very high. And plus, the division ain't exactly lighting it up there. There's nobody that's like in the driver's seat, I guess you could say. You could probably say that they are. But yeah, I think they'll start to get it all figured out.
Yeah, me too.
As well. All right, so they're calling it the game of the year, Vikings at Bills. It was. Minnesota trailed 24-10 at halftime, everyone, but they came back to win by 3 in overtime. Your words in the middle of the game where the Vikings were, they are who we thought they were. Right. We had considered about not even talking about this game today at the halfway point, basically, of the game. I just have a bunch of stats in my review, pretty much. Gabe Davis, 6 for 93 in a score. Josh Allen, he was carrying the ball on the ground after, they wasn't sure if he was going to play. 6 carries, 84 yards. He had some physical runs out there. Singletary, 13 carries, 47 yards and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 12 receptions, 128 yards. But then the guy that replaced him in Minnesota, I talk about him quite a lot. Justin Jefferson, 10 catches, 193 yards and a touchdown. A hell of a catch. He had, everybody saw it. They're calling it probably the catch of the year, probably one of the greater catches in NFL history, that one-hander. Even OBJ tweeted about it during the game. Cook did his thing on the ground, 14 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. Simply put, this game, a lot of turnovers, but a lot of points. Patrick Peterson came back, 2 interceptions as well, including one there at the end. Something's going on, I feel like, with Josh Allen. I know he had the, coming off the elbow injury, whatever, but even prior, he's had a total of 3 consecutive multiple interception games this year. Not like him. Every week, Minnesota continues to wow us. They're 8-1, clear control of the NFC North, even though, Green Bay won on Sunday as well, but they have a tiebreaker over them, a half game lead plus the multiple games in the win column. So yeah, I remember watching, and the announcer at the end was like, the comeback kids, did it again, and they're definitely proving it. So yeah, very good game. Did you see any of this?
Yeah, they were showing it on Red Zone, and I texted you that they are who I thought they were, because I remember Kirk Cousins threw an interception, and it looked like the guy who picked it off, it looked like Kirk threw it straight to him. I was like, what the hell is Kirk looking at? That's typical Kirk Cousins. And I thought they was about to get blown the hell out, but they came back. Justin Jefferson pulling on his big boy pants, man, just manned up out there. You mentioned that catch, the one-handed catch he had, that was on like a 4th and 18 too. Just crazy. I couldn't even believe he made that catch. I was like, I literally said, wow, when I saw that play. And even Diggs, he had a one-handed catch too. I think his was like on a 3rd and 15 or something. So those are like both very high moment or high intensity catches. Also, we had James Cook and Dalvin Cook. James Cook plays for the Bills as running back as well. Brothers both playing each other. You mentioned Dalvin Cook's touchdown run. I think they said that was like because they can track the guys now and their how fast they're going. I think they said that was the fastest, or like top 3 fastest a guy has ran so far this year. He ran like 21 miles per hour at the peak of that run. But yeah, overall, this is a great game. Josh Allen, I don't know what's up with him. I don't know if you can blame it on the elbow injury, but I think this is his 2nd game in a row where he's thrown interceptions in the red zone. And both of these interceptions he had yesterday were both red zone interceptions, both picked off by Patrick Peterson. I might mention his name later today. But man, that was really a good game. I know the kicker for the Vikings was kicking himself because he missed the extra point that could have iced the game away. Josh Allen, I know he's upset. I don't know if I can blame it on strictly all on him with that fumble at the goal line, or if that was something with his center as well. But yeah, man, just craziness. That's it's gonna be hard to top this game, honestly. Definitely. We got another game we're gonna talk about earlier that's pretty good as well. But this game went to overtime, and it was high intensity, pressurized moments. Like I said, that Justin Jefferson catch, it was a wild moment, took my breath away. I'm surprised the Bills lost this game, because in the previous show I said if Josh Allen plays, I think they would win it. And like I said earlier, the first half it looked like they were on their way to winning, because it was 24-10 at halftime. But then the Vikings, they scored 13 points in that 4th quarter. I think that run Dalvin Cook had, I can't remember how long was that run he had, about 81 yards. I think that touchdown run kind of gave them some more life and led them to the victory. But Kirk Cousins, he did his thing too. I got to give him some love, I guess. He threw the ball 50 times, had 357 yards passing. But the throws he made when they needed him, he put it right on the money for Justin Jefferson, especially that last drive they had to get the where they missed the or the Bills stopped him on the goal line.
Yes.
That drive though, he had made a couple of throws to Justin Jefferson that were right on the money, right where he needed to catch the ball at. So salute to Kirk Cousins. That was definitely a great win for the Vikings though. Who are what are they now? 8-1?
8-1, yep.
Yeah. Damn. Who these clowns got next? I call them clowns. Sorry, y'all ain't clowns. They have Dallas next. Ooh.
Oh, they're gonna be hyping that up. It'll be America's game of the week.
That'll be a good
one. Is that that's a regular game? That's not prime time, is it?
Let me check real quick. Does it say? Give me 1 second.
Got you. I'm pretty sure it is.
If it's not prime time, it's probably like a
pretty that late window.
Yeah, it's like mid-afternoon, 4:25 start.
Usually. Oh yeah, that'll be America's game of the week for sure. But they might even pull Joe Buck and Troy Aikman from ESPN. Nah, they'll bring them back to Fox for 1 week.
Please no.
All right, everyone. Turning the page to the AFC, man, Indy, Las Vegas, interim head coach Jeff Saturday with the Colts. He got his first career win. Meanwhile, the Raiders, they've dropped another one. Heading into this game, I wanted to focus on the coaches, like especially Jeff Saturday. I know we talked a little bit about what that meant to some of the younger African-American assistants going on. But this game, really shocked me. I didn't even know, honestly, that Jeff Saturday was going to go back to Matt Ryan. I didn't even see that until during the game. Like I looked up and he was in there. I'm like, oh man, did Ellinger get injured or what? And then I looked at pulled up on my phone or whatever, and Ellinger didn't even play. So great decision for him. Paid off. Matt Ryan was efficient with the ball. The offensive line was blocking better. Taylor was back to himself. Let's see, he had 147 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Matty Ice, he even scrambled for a career-long 39.
I saw that run live. I was like, what the hell is going on here? I thought he was going to score for a second.
Yep, crazy. But it was against the Raiders, everyone. So you can't really, we got to give credit where credit's due. He set a record for himself. But again, it was against the Raiders. Speaking of Las Vegas, they're really banged up. They put it together a good fight, though.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, he did Devontae Adams things. I expect nothing less from him. But Derek Carr, a little emotional after the game. He kind of called out his teammates. He was crying in the press conference, talking about felt like how passionate he is for winning and, giving it everything, giving it all, leaving nothing on the field, all that, leaving everything on the field, excuse me. So, yeah, we'll see how that hopefully impacts his teammates. If you're a Raiders fan, hopefully this, will be a little bit of a, eye opener to some of the guys there. But I feel like, did he forget that he plays for the Raiders and losing is kind of common there? I mean, in all honesty, but yeah, what are your thoughts on this game?
I'm wondering if this is going to be the last season for Derek Carr. My gut tells me yes. But you mentioned their injuries. They were without Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. I think Renfrow got put on IR.
Yes.
I know they were missing Darren Waller because there was a play late in that game. Their other tight end, Moreau, I don't want to say he dropped it because the Colts defender, the linebacker, made a good play on the ball and swatted out his hand as he caught it. But I was just thinking to myself, I wonder if Darren Waller would have made that play or not.
True.
Because you mentioned they're dealing with some injuries. But yeah, Josh Jacobs did okay, 21 rushes, 78 yards. But as you mentioned, Jonathan Taylor, he finally came back to life. He had a big 66-yard run that he broke for a touchdown too. And then I don't know if you saw that play, Paris Campbell, he caught like a slant and took it to the house. It was only for 35 yards, but he caught the ball as like he shot out of a cannon, just ran right past all the Raiders defenders. And that was a game-winning score. And I wasn't surprised to see Matt Ryan out there. We were talking a little bit about it because, the games that Ellinger played in, he really didn't show me much. Yeah. I guess you could say the Commanders game where they barely lost, you could say maybe, but the game after that, he didn't do much. Who did they play before this game? It wasn't the Commanders, right? Yeah, they lost to New England. They got whooped. 26-3. So I kind of see why they went back to Matt Ryan. The Raiders, I'm wondering. I keep wondering, like, after each week they lose, if we're going to hear McDaniels gets fired. But I'm guessing, though, they're just going to wait until the end of the season and see. Because I don't know if they go like 3-14 or whatever the record will be. They win like less than 5 games. It'll be hard for me to see him come back, even though he's a first-year coach. This is his second venture as a head coach?
For sure. Yep.
So I don't know. I saw a stat the other day, like after that 6-0 start he had the Broncos, he was like 7-28 or something crazy like that. But he definitely not on a good hand right now. But as far as this game, it was a back and forth affair. Both teams are playing well, but the Colts just had a little bit more umph in the end. Jeff Saturday got his win as a debut as interim head coach. Do you think they're gonna make him the just full-time head coach at the end of the season?
I believe so.
I think they will.
I know even after the game in the locker room, Irsay was right there standing next to him, gave him a big hug when he was like, everybody get game balls and stuff, and told him they was gonna be off till Wednesday, the typical head coach speak. So I think they boys and all. I think he'll keep them all.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's get over to the NFC North division. The Lions took on the Bears. They beat the Bears 31-30. This was a crazy game. Justin Fields had another monster game rushing. I think he's gonna be the guy, you know, because when he takes off in the open field, he got some speed on him, man. Because he outran a cornerback, a Kuda for the Lions, and I forgot who the other guys, but he outran both of them once he got in the open field and scored a long touchdown. He also scored another touchdown. He laid the wood on the Lions safety. I think his name was Deshaun Elliott. I think he got knocked out because they said he was out of the game with concussion protocol. But if I remember correctly, the way his body reacted after that impact, it was like he kind of went limp and his knee kind of like folded under him, and then it popped back out, or his legs, I mean, anyway. But it was a great game, man. Justin Fields, you see, he still has some growing pains because he threw a pick six. Was it a pick six? I think it was a pick six. Yeah, he was scrambling, trying to make something happen. And instead of throwing the ball away, he threw it up in the air, and Jeff Okudah picked it off and ran it back for a touchdown. Man, this game was just crazy. Justin Fields, 13 rushes, 147 yards. He's not as big as Cam Newton, but I think we might start seeing him get that type of Cam Newton treatment where he start getting banged around and banged up, and he not get those calls. What was your thoughts on this game?
Justin Fields, man, can anybody stop him on the ground? Like you mentioned, what he had on Sunday, just the last 2 weeks, 178 previous week, and again, 147, 2 touchdowns. I think he's quietly making a midseason push for MVP. I know a lot of people are talking about Tua Tagovailoa, who's making a push as well, but I think Justin Fields, I mean, these last couple of weeks, if he keeps it up, his name might be there in the conversation a little bit more. You mentioned his touchdowns. He turned on the Jets for that 67-yarder in the midfield. Nobody could catch up to him. Kind of looked like Lamar Jackson. LJ's had a couple big runs like that.
Yeah.
But who would have thought the Lions and the Bears would have been one of the better games of the weekend? I really didn't. Battle of the Brothers went in favor of Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, he had a big
and his
game.
Lions got it done. He had a big game himself, 10 for 119. Had a long catch of 22 yards as well. And how about your guy, Aiden Hutchinson, and that goal line stop there as well? That was a big play as well. One of my favorite corners was out there. You mentioned Jeff Okudah. He got his hands on the Justin Fields interception as well to tie the game in the fourth quarter. I think that was the pick six you're talking about.
Yeah.
But this was the first time that the Lions have scored on a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and an interception return for a touchdown since 1973 in one game. Both of these teams are playing really hard, and it's especially the Lions. It's obviously surprising. Only got 3 wins, both of them, but I mean, these are teams, especially in the Lions, that we've seen winless at this point in the season multiple years in a row, and Chicago hadn't been much better either. But they're both playing very good. It seems like the future is bright for them. I don't know how much longer Jared Goff will be there in the future, but definitely some, if you're fans of those teams there in the NFC North, something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, Goff might be heading for a backup role.
Yeah.
Next season if they don't re-sign him or draft somebody else to replace him. So we'll see.
I called it the Mike McCarthy Bowl. He and A-Rod, they hugged it out before and after the game. There at Lambeau Field, brought back some good memories, but Coach Mike and his Cowboys left town for loss against a struggling Pack on Sunday. Man, my mind said go with Dallas, so I did, but my heart said go with Green Bay, and I got burned. Like, I legit was about to change my pick too in my picks league. Our guy Tyrone, he was exactly right. Talk about Dak on Friday. I remember you said you had to run out. You missed one of the interceptions he had, 2 costly interceptions as well. One was down in the red zone. But I know the Cowboys fans are happy to see CeeDee Lamb catch the ball. The few Dallas fans that I know, they stay talking about how he's had multiple drops this year and late last year as well. Entering the game, this is kind of wild. I don't know if you saw this stat line. The Cowboys were 195-0 when they led by at least 2 touchdowns heading into the fourth quarter. And yesterday, Sunday, was the first loss in franchise history, and having that lead, such lead that they had. But as for the winning team, much needed win for Green Bay.
Definitely.
Aaron Rodgers from 3 interceptions to 3 touchdowns. Good turnaround for him for the reigning MVP. The ground game, they kind of exposed that Dallas defense, finished over 200
Definitely.
yards rushing. Yeah. I know the Cowboys fans are, licking their chops to see Tony Pollard, another 100-yard rushing game for him. Christian Watson, he needed this game. They've been talking about him since week 1, had that big drop that kind of set the tone for the season as well. He's been talked about ever since. So hopefully nothing comes of that. Rodgers, I don't know if you saw this, the Rodgers and LaFleur verbal exchange. It was mainly Rodgers, because LaFleur just stood there like a kid. Honestly, right there at the end of regulation. Aaron wanted to run the ball because they were, obviously efficient.
Yeah.
I could see why LaFleur called the pass play, in my opinion, because, the clock was a factor. I think they only had one timeout. It was only a yard, but you do talk about an MVP style quarterback as well. So I think if you had ran it and they didn't get it, then they would be like, okay, why didn't they pass the ball? So
Yeah.
I kind of agree with the decision to throw it there, even though it didn't work out. Short week for Green Bay, though. They host the Titans on Thursday Night Football, so hopefully they'll protect home field again. I'm sure you saw a good amount of this game as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. You said it right. The Cowboys definitely got exposed, that run game. Aaron Jones had a huge day, 138 yards and a touchdown. The Cowboys are without Zeke Elliott. So I wonder going forward how that's going to be. I know Tony Pollard had a good game, 115 yards rushing. He had a touchdown himself, but Zeke is really good pass blocking. And there was a couple of plays where I wonder what it would have been like if Zeke was back there instead of Tony Pollard pass blocking, because Dak, I know some of those throws were just on him, but some of the throws he was rushing and could get the throws out. But shout out to Tyrone. He was texting me during the game. He's like, I told you,
Yep.
did I say it? I told you. Yeah, you were right. It ain't looking too good. This is typical Dallas football.
Yep.
They break Cowboys fans' heart, and I love it. I don't know if you follow Stephen A. Smith.
Yep, I was going to
say. He does his thing where they lose. He just pans the camera to himself and starts laughing.
It's just a sign of things to come.
He's like, what did he saying? What can go wrong will go wrong.
Yep.
Accident waiting to happen. And it's starting to look like that. We'll see. The Cowboys, I think they got the Vikings next week. So I don't know. Then I think after that game, they got the Giants. So
tough
it could
stretch.
be these next 2 weeks. Are they going to be 6-5 or what's going to happen? We'll see. Now, I don't know if I don't think they should go back to Cooper Rush. I think Dak is better than him.
Oh, no, for sure.
Cooper, they did pretty much play mistake-free football with him. But then you saw him, he played against an opponent that was pretty good, and you could see that, Dak would give them a better chance to win. So going forward, I don't know. It's looking kind of funny in the light for you Cowboys. Y'all 6-3, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Aaron Rodgers, you mentioned Christian Watson. He got a big drop in a couple of games. I think he had a big drop against the Commanders too, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. I think that was him. That wasn't Dobbs. So this is kind of like a coming out party for him. He's got that monkey off his back. I wonder if that'll be Aaron Rodgers' go-to receiver going forward. Because in the beginning of the season, I thought it would be Sammy Watkins, but he's been banged up as usual. So I don't know. We'll see who's going to be the number one receiver going forward. Christian Watson separated himself or not. We'll see. And I think they're going to get Randall Cobb coming back soon too. So maybe the Packers will make a run, kind of like the Bucs are doing. They win a game, and then maybe they'll go on a roll. The Bucs are on a 2-game winning streak, but we'll see how the Packers do this Thursday coming up, that short game this week.
Yeah, I think on First Take, it was either Molly or Dan Orlovsky was like, why isn't Michael Irvin here? He's always on the Monday show. And he said Dan Orlovsky was like, well, I called a game in London and I came back, in time to be here for the Monday show. And it goes Stephen A. Smith. Well, if the Cowboys had won, he would have been here. So that's why he's not here. Yeah, definitely a good show when those two guys are together. So it'll be funny to see what Urban says, especially like you said, they got Minnesota coming up and the Giants. Giants got another win in there, so they're not, backing down right now. So how will this midseason stretch go for the Cowboys? We'll definitely be watching for sure.
Yeah.
Battle of the Golden State. It went to the home team on Sunday Night Football. Jerry Rice was there. He even caught a pass from Jimmy G on an overthrow in the end zone. They had him, had the cameras all on him after that. I didn't see much of this game, especially after halftime. But I think the turning point when I went back and looked at it was the Herbert injury. He only missed a few plays there. Chase Daniel came in. They stalled on that drive. Chase Daniel had 2 incompletions. They had to kick the field goal. They definitely had control of that first half. It was like a tale 2 halves.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they came out and got shut out in the second half. I really never understand why the Chargers are so inconsistent. It's kind of mind-boggling to me. They changed head coaches. They kind of blamed it on
Anthony Lynn.
Anthony Lynn. They get Brandon Staley. He goes out there and he's kind of gutsy, goes for it on 4th down and stuff, but there's still, it seems like 1 week on and, next couple games, there are a couple losses or either right there in, a loss or 2 in a row. So costly late game interception by Herbert there in San Francisco territory, right there by midfield. Strange play, a little bit of a short pass, but a great play by the safety. I think this guy, I didn't get his name though. They said he's worked out with Troy Polamalu, or he's related to him or something to those terms. He definitely looked like Troy Polamalu out there. I mean, hair moving left and right on that play and everything. Like, it just had flashbacks. Trust me, as a Ravens fan, we've seen it enough with him back in the day. So I don't have much on the Niners besides a great defensive game for them. They held Eckler in check, and Justin Herbert, a guy that can sling it all over the yard. He was held under 200 yards passing as well. Did you catch the entirety of this game?
Yeah, I watched pretty much all of it. That interception he threw late in the game to seal it for the Niners, I think his arm got hit as well as he was throwing the ball by one of the defenders. So I guess you could say that's why the ball wasn't nowhere near the receiver. True. But the second half, the Niners, they started playing their style of football or running the ball. Mitchell, he came back. Elijah Mitchell, excuse me. He came back. He had 18 rushes for 89 yards. C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey, he had 14 rushes for 38 yards. It's not a lot, but if you look at the number of plays that both teams ran in the second half, the Niners almost doubled them up. I think it was like 18 to 39, or they did 31. What was it? 18. Yeah, they doubled them up. They had double the number of plays they had, and they basically were just running the ball. And then if they needed to make a pass play when they needed to, they could go to Debo or Brandon Ayuk. I know he had a couple of nice catches as well. And what's the guy's name? Jawan Jennings. But on the Chargers side of the ball, like you said early in the season, and we talked offline, I think Herbert has regressed a little bit. I was expecting him to take a leap this season. Now you can say maybe because he hasn't had his receivers. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both have been out an extended amount of time. So maybe that's why, he hasn't looked how everyone thought he should look. But Niners pretty much shut down Eckler. He only had 6 rushes for 24 yards. He had 7 receptions as well, but it was only for 39 yards. The Niners defense, even though they have a bunch of injuries, that defense is still formidable, man. What's the guy's name? Not Jimmy Ward, it's something Ward. Forgot the guy's name.
Is it Tre'Davious?
I think it is Tre'Davious Ward. Yeah. Charvarius Ward, yeah.
Okay.
He's looking like their number 1 corner out there. He did a good job on DeAndre Carter and Joshua Palmer, or whoever he's gone, George Kittle, anybody. But it looks like going forward, the Niners are going to come up and take over this division. The Rams, I don't know if they're done, but they look about done. Cooper Kupp got hurt. I think he might be out a little bit with an ankle injury. And then the Cardinals, I mean, who knows what's going on with them? Even though they got their win, they're so up and down. But I think the Niners going forward, they're going to start to run away with this division, barring any more setbacks and injuries, in my opinion. But let's look into these other games that we had on the schedule this week. Giants beat the Texans 24-16. They improved to 7-2, I believe. Yeah, 7-2. The Dolphins beat the Browns 39-17. Steelers beat the Saints 20-10. And Coach Tomlin now has a win against every team in NFL besides the Steelers, of course. Cardinals beat the Rams 27-17. The game where both backup quarterbacks played. Wofford for the Rams and Colt McCoy for the Cardinals. Chiefs beat the Jaguars 27-17. Titans beat the Broncos 17-10. I don't know why I thought the Broncos would win. They kind of almost did, but And then the Thursday night game last week, Panthers beat the Falcons 25-15. Brandon, which of these games caught your eye the most?
Steelers and the Saints, like you said, Mike Tomlin, I didn't realize until right before the game he was, 1 win shy against this New Orleans team from beating, again, every team in the league besides his Steelers. So congratulations to him. I was paying close attention to that one. As a Ravens fan, it's hard to say, but I was rooting for the Steelers in this one. Wow. Giants and the Texans, that game was close. So I was watching that as well, but I kind of had I've been eyeing the Texans. They've been playing hard under Lovie Smith. So this game, how close it was at the end as far as score-wise doesn't surprise me as well. And then the Chiefs and the Jaguars. I remember we was talking about this as well through text during the 1 o'clock or the early games on Sunday. And I think I had turned away for a second, and right before halftime, the Jaguars had scored a touchdown. And then you said, they was looking good or whatever, something to those terms, and they might have a chance. And I was like, I got a better chance of getting with Kay Adams than the Jaguars coming back, because the Chiefs at home, man, are just damn near unbeatable. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had himself another day passing. He got the touchdown pass to Kadarius Toney on the sideline. You saw it. I mean, the man was right there. I mean, you just don't see that. Like, the guy hopped into the end zone on one leg because he knew he wouldn't have been able to balance himself all the way there. Like, it's amazing. We didn't see that in New York, but everybody gets a resurgence when they play with Patrick Mahomes. It's insane. This Chiefs team is very quiet this year as far as national attention in my eyes, and I think they can mess around and go far. But anyway, what games caught your attention? What games were you eyeing on Sunday?
So I was watching Red Zone most of the day, and I think I texted you, is the Titans-Broncos game. They showed like one play of the Titans-Broncos game in the first half, but the second half they gave that a little bit more coverage. So I kept my eye on that one. I was watching the Dolphins-Browns game because I just want to see how the Dolphins offense will look. And once again, they put up 39 points. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think they both scored touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe just Tyreek, but they look potent. And that defense, now with the addition of Bradley Chubb, I think they're going to win the AFC East. I think they're better than the Bills at this point right now. And Tua, as long as he can remain healthy, they can keep him intact. I think they're going to come out of that AFC East and make a nice little run in the playoffs. I was looking at the Chiefs-Jaguars game as well, just for fantasy purposes. I got Christian Kirk on my team. The Rams-Cardinals game, I was watching that as well, too, for fantasy purposes. And, when Colt McCoy plays with the Cardinals, he looks good, man.
Yeah, definitely.
He really looks good. So, Kyle, you better get healthy soon. Hopefully that hamstring, whatever you're dealing with, can get healthy, because Colt McCoy keeps playing and winning games for the Cardinals. They might I guess they can't, because they gave you that, or Kyler, they gave Kyler that big contract in the offseason. So but it will make things interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah. And then I was looking at the Steelers Saints game as well, only because, again, fantasy purposes, I got Najee Harris on my team. And he did all right. He had 20 carries for 99 yards. I was kind of upset that every time they got to the damn goal line, Najee Harris on the field, they turned into freaking the best defense in the world. Somebody else in the backfield, they can't stop a damn fly. I think Steelers, Kenny Pickett, he had a rushing touchdown as well.
Yes.
I think it was like on a QB sneak on the goal line.
Correct.
So those were the main games I was focusing on. I do want to shout out Cortland Sutton. He had a great catch. I think he slipped when Russell threw in the ball, but he had a great, he caught it with one head and gathered it in as he was falling to the ground. That was a great catch as well. Underrated catch that a lot of people might not saw or talk about this week. But yeah, those are my games that I was watching.
Got you. It's that time of the show again for our player awards. We start on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to show a lot of love to the Green Bay Packers this week here. I think some of their guys really impressed me. I'm going to start with Christian Watson. Much needed game for him, again, for the entire team. But looking at him himself, 4 receptions, 107 yards, 3 touchdowns. Basically, every time he touched the ball, it was a score. Who's your offensive ace?
I got to give it to Justin Jefferson, man. 10 catches, 193 yards and a touchdown. And a lot of his catches were, needed clutch catches. And that, we talked about earlier, that one-handed catch he had in traffic, just mind-blowing. So Justin Jefferson's my awesome player of the week.
All right, so on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go with Rudy Ford. He's the safety for the Packers. He had 2 interceptions of Dak Prescott. One of those was in the end zone, kind of, in my opinion, kind of set the tone for the Packers. Kept Dallas out of the end zone at least one time, or even out of, field goal range. Obviously, there was a big momentum, got him up by 7 there when it was tied 7-7. Green Bay went down and scored, set him up good field position. Who's your defender of the week?
It's a tie between 2 guys on the same team, Patrick Peterson and Eric Kendricks of the Vikings. Patrick Peterson had 2 clutch interceptions. Both of them were in the red zone, one to seal the game, and the other one was early in the fourth quarter that helped them get back in the game. And of course, that fumble recovery for a touchdown and that goal line by Eric Kendricks, man. They needed that to win the game as well. So I'm kind of leaning more towards Kendricks, but Patrick Peterson sealed the game, so that's why it's a tie for me. But Patrick Peterson and Eric Kendricks of the Vikings, y'all tied for a defensive player of the week for me.
Always showing love to special teams. I'm going to go with the Seattle punter, Michael Dixon, over there in Germany. 5 punts, 253 yards that he helped out his team with there. 4 of those were placed inside the 20-yard line, but 2 of them were inside the Tampa Bay 5-yard line, making life difficult there for Tom Brady and company. Who you got?
Same guy, Mike Dixon. This is another week in a row. I got a special team with a Dick in the name, so I don't know if that's a trend going forward or not, but we'll see. As he mentioned, the 4 punts inside the 20, and I don't think he gave any of the Bucs receivers or returners a chance to return a ball. So I don't see anything for the Bucs returners getting stats on the punt returns anyway. So yeah, Mike Dixon, he's my special teams player of the week as well. And now let's I guess you can preview this Commanders-Eagles game. Right now the sports books has Philly as an 11-point favorite. That's generous. I think they're gonna blow them out. Taylor Heineke is in for a rude awakening. They got Robert Quinn now from the Bears. I don't think he played the first time we played them, but I know that first time we played them, their D-line was just wrecking us. I think they put up 21 points in the first half before we decided to play football against them. I don't know, Taylor Heineke. Maybe you'll have a game. Philly gonna win. That's my opinion on this. What about you, Brandon?
Man, I don't know if it was last year or the year before y'all played it was at FedEx Field though. Y'all played the Steelers. They were 11-0 and y'all beat them, gave them their first loss. A lot of people was like the Steelers were the worst undefeated team in history that made it that far. And it kind of shocked the world, but I would not be shocked if y'all won tonight. And I know, it's there at the link. The crowd's going to be riled up and everything. Jalen's playing lights out. His receivers are playing good. They're running the ball, all that kind of stuff. The defense is stifling. But I originally picked the Commanders in my picks league, and I changed it early this morning to the Eagles. I'm not trying to jinx y'all, but I think I'm going to go with the Commanders in this game to upset them. I think that this is a sneaky trap game for the Eagles as well.
It could be.
I'm going to go with the Commanders on the road to shock them. I know this was heading into the season. This was going to be the return of Carson Wentz to the link. Unfortunately, we can't see that. So Taylor Heineke is going to, obviously take the reins of the offense there into Philly. He's familiar with the Eagles, having to play them a couple times in his career. So,
I won't be surprised if the Commanders win either, but I don't know. I just don't see it happening. But if they somehow come out win, I won't be surprised. But I won't be surprised if Commanders get the doors blown off them either. That's why I got the Eagles winning. I think Jalen Hurts has took a leap this year. And that defense, now with the addition of Robert Quinn, that D-line is going to be coming after Taylor. Hopefully, Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, they can do some things on the ground, even J.D. McKissick. But I don't know, man. I think it might be a long, long night for my Commanders. We will see, though. We will see.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another show. Thursday Night Football will feature the Titans and Packers at Lambeau Field. Another busy week this coming weekend in Week 11. And it will all end in Mexico for Monday Night Football. We got the 49ers and Cardinals. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Podcast BNE. We'll be back later this week. Peace.
And before we
everyone.
go, I want to give a shout out to Devin White. I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but he flew to Germany hours after hearing his father passed away. So I know was tough for him to play. Just want to give a shout out to him on what he's dealing with his family. Sorry about that, Devin.
Yeah, absolutely. I did not hear about that. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, folks.